So I'm really delighted to be joined today by Rachel Kent, and she's going to be talking about how she cleared her fear of public speaking using EFT and matrix reimprinting. So hi Rachel.
Hi there Sharon, good to be here.
Fabulous. So if you could just tell us a little bit about what life was like for you before you cleared your fear, and then a little bit about how you cleared your fear.
Okay, so very briefly, my background was originally in teaching and psychotherapy and training. So to have a really horrendous, debilitating fear of public speaking was just, awful.
When you say teacher, who were you teaching?
I was a special needs teacher. So I had kids with severe learning difficulties and mental handicap in those days, we called it. Yes, so I had them in a class, and then I supported kids out in mainstream who had special needs, and to prevent exclusion when they were getting into bother. But my job called on me to run bits of training here and there. And of course, when you go for a job, you have to go for an interview. And that was my first terrifying experience, was going for my first teaching job interview. So it was a permanent job. I expected 1 or 2 interviewers, and there was a panel of 8. And I literally hyperventilated. I couldn't speak. They had to work hard to get me in a state where I could be interviewed, which was so embarrassing. There's so much shame and embarrassment around. And when you feel out of control, like your body's against you, you want to appear confident. You can be confident in millions of situations, but here you are completely gibbering wreck, and it's awful. But I literally didn't know what to do about it, and I had many experiences like that with no clue how to resolve it, because it was kind of against my will. And you can't feel the fear and do it anyway when you go into extreme fight, flight and fear. It's not enough, and you can't talk yourself out of it. And I'll give you an example of where I completely cut off from fear as a strategy and how badly that backfired for me. I did a parachute jump, and on the training, we all learned what to do over 8 hours. And when it came to do the jump, we were in an aeroplane. I think it was only a 2,000 feet one, but I wasn't strapped.
Only
the whole jump myself. And I got in the doorway, and I suddenly went from no fear at all and thought everyone was making a fuss about nothing, to complete terror. And I wanted to not jump, and they pushed me out.
Oh my God.
Tumbles, and thank God it was an automatic, parachute, because I'd have been strawberry jam. Anyway, I didn't face the wind. I didn't pull my toggles because I was literally paralysed with fear. So that was my most extreme example of being terrified. And I couldn't function. My body didn't respond to what my brain was telling it to do.
Yeah.
The reason I mention that is because that's the extreme of when you go into fight, flight, fear, and you are at the mercy of the old brain, the old functioning that prevents, doing what you need to.
Well, the purpose of that is that, if you get caught by that lion or tiger that's chasing you, or dinosaur, then you don't want to feel and emotionally feel and physically feel the enormity of your death. So you go into freeze and faint.
And unfortunately, if you've jumped out of an aeroplane, and your being okay depends on pulling your toggles to face the wind and to soften your body and roll like a banana onto the floor. But no, Muggins here was completely rigid, smashed into the ground, and fractured my pelvis top and bottom, and was in hospital. So I wish I'd had insurance on that. But anyway, so that was an extreme, and that came up when I actually did the work on when we do matrix work, we don't always know, we might know consciously some of the experiences that get in our way, but we don't know them all. And what I love about matrix work is you can go into a memory, and you can trust, you can clear it completely, and that younger self can be cleared of the stress. But you can also ask, where else do we need to go? And the person working with you might say something like that, like, is there somewhere else we need to go? And I completely trust my subconscious and the subconscious of others. We just go there. And
Yeah.
you don't, you know, so you could go from an interview, a teaching interview, and where you're clearing that. And I think I was about 23 years old when that incident. But I was also 23 when the parachute thing happened. Now, that's not about public speaking. But the point is, the subconscious goes to where it needs to go. And that's an experience of extreme fear. So somewhere there was a link. And then there was a catalogue of other echoes. One of them was actually Carl Dawson had a EFT supervision day, and various ones of us would get up and talk about a really interesting topic that we were working off with or something. So I spoke about Gestalt psychotherapy because that's what I trained in originally, and I was terrified. And I spent most of the time apologising to the audience for being so nervous. And one of the people I knew in the audience said to me afterward, why are you apologising? We can't even tell. Sometimes people can't see that you're terrified. But it's so awful inside. You don't know that. You think the whole world can tell. So that's all the problem. And basically, I've sort of referred to some of the clearing. Those are some of the memories I went into and cleared. But what was wonderful with the matrix work was I was doing it through an exercise in learning matrix reimprinting at the time. I think it was the second time I'd done it. And I was familiar with working in that way already. But it's like a string of pearls. It's like, as I was saying, one memory pops up, you clear that, another one pops up, and you just go wherever you're taken, trust the process. And then you come out the other end thinking, oh, am I all right now? And of course, the proof of the pudding, like with any phobia, is go and do it in real life. And I have to confess, I haven't stood up in front of hundreds and hundreds of people on a stage yet. One of my big breakthroughs in recent years is I perform on stage in the theatre, and I do musical theatre, and I'm doing my 6th show in a couple of weeks, and I've actually got a named part, and I'm really, really chuffed. And if I hadn't cleared those echoes, I can't imagine I would be doing what I'm doing, as well as the video work I'm doing, because I feel so strongly about this. There's a lot of, I'm sorry, I'm jumping around a bit, but there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there and coaches and therapists who would love to get their message out into the world, but they are so debilitated by not being able to speak confidently in public. And it's not all about being on a stage talking to 1,000 people. It might be just doing a video, or it might be just doing a small training for a group. Whatever it is, I've kind of taken this on as my new niche because of my experience. So yes, I'm developing an online course in that, and some webinars so that I can help other people recover as I have, really.
Brilliant. And if somebody was interested or drawn to either working with you or interested in your webinars, how would they contact you, or how would they find out more?
Well, hot off the press, I've just started a public Facebook group, which anybody can join who's interested in the theme. And that group is called Help, I've Got to Make a Speech. So it's not just for people who've got to make a speech. It's for anyone who might want to perform, might want to take to the stage, or make some videos or whatever. So anyone is welcome to literally just put that into the search in Facebook, Help, I've Got to Make a Speech. My name is Rachel Kent, and you'll see that I'm in there. My website it isn't complete yet, so I won't be able to give you those web addresses. Okay.
But, you know, just on the theme of public speaking, I was, like you, did a talk on Carl's Supervision Day and completely terrified. But even to get me to that point, I had to work on an echo on my 5-year-old Echo, my younger self, when she was 5, who was asked to read the Lord's Prayer in assembly to a whole group of people. And I'd gone home with my bit of paper and I'd practiced reading it off the bit of paper. And as I went to walk on the stage to do the Lord's Prayer, the teacher took the bit of paper off me and said, "You don't need that."
Oh,
Yes. So I remembered the first line, and then that was it. I just froze. So my fear when I'm public speaking is that I'm going to freeze and forget what it is that I'm going to see. So having cleared that for me, then I'm now able to pop up everywhere.
yeah, absolutely. Because I would never have guessed that about you. And a lot of people don't realise how frightened other people are.
Yeah.
But I just want it to be quite public that it's okay and we can get over it. And it really is quite straightforward.
Yeah.
You know, once we tune in and find the key things that need clearing, then yeah. And thanks to Matrix for me, the main clearing of that issue.
Excellent. And some of that I think you discovered on Susie Shalmadine's Realise Your Dreams workshop, is that right?
When she was running a Matrix reimprinting.
Oh, it was Matrix reimprinting training.
Yeah. Although I have done her Realise Your Dreams. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So Rachel, thank you. But just to finish off, if there was one message that you would like to share with the world about Matrix reimprinting, or to say to Carl, what would that be?
Well, I'd definitely say to Carl, thank you. And also I feel privileged to have been there at its inception, because it was forming in our EFT training 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I did an EFT 10 years ago. It's now 2017. And Matrix has been evolving since then. And I was delighted also to have my case study in the book, Matrix Reimprinting. That was fabulous. And yeah, keep up the good work. And I love seeing Matrix spread all over the world in trainings, webinars, all sorts of different ways. And yes, good.
Brilliant. Thank you, Rachel.
And lovely to speak to you again.